Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my list over the best games that have been released in 2024. Keep in mind before we begin that maybe I haven't played all the games you really love, and maybe the game you really think that's the best games you have played for the Nintendo Switch, and you're wondering why it's not on the list. It can be maybe it was just not my cup of tea. This is my personal list, and I don't care about Metacritic, I don't care about what a lot of people are saying that's the best. If I had a unique experience with a specific game, that will be my top game on the list. I wasn't sure how to make the list at the beginning. I was conflicted if I wanted to talk about the best games I played the whole year that necessarily wasn't released this year, or if I should only talk about games that have been released this year. And I decided to go with that I'll only count games that have been released this year. I thought it would be more funny to talk about games here on the list that not necessarily are masterpiece, all the games. And I have played a lot of great games this year, but a lot of the best games I have played was games that have been released a long time ago. I can name a game that would be on the list otherwise, and that is What Remains of Edith Finch. But that game was released a long time ago, so it won't be on the list, even though it will be high on my top 10 otherwise. But I'm going to talk about the best games that I played this year that have been released this year. And last year I made the same kind of list, and I said that was one of the best. I actually think I said it was the best gaming year I have ever had. And I still think I agreeing on that. That is definitely the best Switch year I had last year, with the Tears of the Kingdom and the DLC of Xenoblade and Mario Wonder. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. But this year, it's not that it had been a bad year, but there is, I would say, there are some games that I don't think all people would like. And at the bottom of my top 10 list, there are some games that normally wouldn't be on the list. They are kind of mediocre, but I play a lot of games that not necessarily are releasing the year I'm playing the game. So often I realize that I've missed a great game and I go back and play them, and sometimes I ending up not playing all the games that are going to be released the year when it came out. So keep that in mind. And sorry about the very slow and maybe not that well edited video. It's going to be pretty long, I think so. But at the moment I'm a very busy man with my family and the work. And I have live streamed the last 2 days, and it's because my wife and kid is traveling right now, and I saw the time to do some live streaming, and I'm right now playing Outer Wilds. And check out the live stream if you want. And other than that, I can't. This kind of video takes a long time to record and edit and put in some footage of the games. So keep that in mind. It will be in one take, so maybe I will fumble over my words. I normally don't talk English, so bear over me, and I hope you can enjoy the video, even though I'm talking very Danish English. But let's start the video and talk about the first game on the list on my top 10 over the best games I played in 2024 and been released. So the first game I'm going to pick is my number 10, of course, and that is Disney's Epic Mickey Rebrushed. I really loved the Wii game back in the days. I remember I was looking very much forward to it because it had a very special tone in the histories, in the storytelling. And the graphic was very different than I normally would have seen in a game made from Disney. And I really thought and still think that the dark twist in Epic Mickey is kind of refreshing. I like that Oswald is some rabbit that are jealous on Mickey Mouse and want to ruin everything for him. I kind of like the dark tone in the game, and I remember back in the day there are some funkiness with the control. There are some platforming places where I didn't really feel it was polished that well. I can gladly inform you that the control have been improved a lot in this game, and the graphic looks much better. The lighting in the game is very good. I would say though that the game hadn't aged that well. It's not that this version is bad at all. It's not that the Wii version is better. Not in my opinion, but you can feel that it's so strange to say that a Wii game is an old game, but you can feel that there are some mechanics that have not aged that well, and I don't know, I ending up sometimes while I was playing through the game get a little bit bored. I don't think they change up the pace that much. It's a game that know what works and try to keep the things that works through the whole game, and it ending up being kind of repetitive in the end. In the middle, I already thought, okay, it's kind of repetitive, and I actually ending up being like, oh, let it be over already. It's not that it's a bad game at all. It's on my top 10 list of the best games I played this year that have been released this year. But still, you have to like the Disney World, and I think a lot of people do that as well. And you have to accept that the platforming and the challenging things in the game is very samey all the way through. It's not that there come up some new ideas along the way. I think some of the side quests is kind of repetitive as well. You see a lot of the same kind of things you are going to do through the game. And yeah, now it sounds more like that I'm bashing the game, but all in all, it's still an enjoyable game, and I think it's worth picking up if you like Disney and if you like the more dark tone in a Disney game. I must admit, maybe a little bit nostalgia play a little role here while it's on my top 10 list. I think a lot of people would say that it's not a top 10 kind of game on a list over the best games that have been released in 2024, but still I had a good blast with it, even though it had a lot of mistakes, but I still think it was a good time. At place number 9, we have a game that actually surprised me that I ended up having a lot of fun with, and that is Aset, the Jewel of Faramore. This game was released last year as a digital game, but Limited Run released it this year. And you know me, I am a physical game kind of guy. So if I know that I'm going to pick up a game and wait for the physical version, and I will count it as releasing this year. So I have another game here on the list. All my games through the top 10 list is physical, beside one that's only digital so far. I couldn't wait for the physical version. I'm going to pick up the physical version as well. So that game specific, I will count that, of course, because I played this year. But otherwise, I will pick games that have been released physical this year. Just keep that in mind, because it was released last year as a digital game. This game is a love letter to the Legend of Zelda CDI games back on the Philips CDI. And those games are known by being horrible. But there are something about those games that had made them popular, and that's the smaller cutscenes. They are kind of creepy and very fun to watch, the old cutscenes from the CDI. I don't know what it is. There's something about the animation is popping forward and backwards all the time, and then doing some weird faces, and the voice acting is horrible in a good way. So this was a love letter to those kind of games. It had the same kind of graphic style. It had the weird creepy animation as well on the characters. And I actually ended up completed this game 100%. I was very surprised how fun it actually was blasting through it. It's a very short game, around, I think I used around 4 to 5 hours to complete it 100%. I had a good time, and I'm glad it wasn't longer, otherwise I think it was overstated its welcome. It was pretty easy, and I ended up just having a fun, good time. It still had a lot of the same bullshit as the old CDI games, where sometimes you enter a door that you wasn't supposed to enter, and yeah, I must admit, the gameplay mechanics and the level design isn't the best at all. The control is a little bit slippery, but that's the same as the old CDI games, and I think it's funny to make a game that can have some frustrating moments without being so frustrating that it ruins the game. I think it's the purpose in the game that it has those same mistakes as the old CDI games. All in all, I had a good time with it, and I think it was a funny experience to play a game that is inspired by the Zelda CDI games. The music, by the way, is fucking fire. I don't know what's going on there. It's still, just keep in mind that this game is not for everyone. You have to have a little bit nostalgia for the old CDI Zelda games, YouTube videos made by AVGN, and I have never played the old CDI games. I've only seen reviews for other YouTubers, and I have seen through all the cutscenes, and yeah, I have always thought it's a funny thing. So I like these kind of platforming games. I like the art style and the quirkiness with the animation as well, but it's not the best level design at all. The music is fire, the graphic is fun, the animation is hilarious, the story is bad, the control is mediocre at best. Yeah, there are a lot of problems with the game, but I can see through it and had a good time with it anyway. But please check out some reviews before you pick up the game, especially if you want the physical version, because that is pretty expensive. It's released by Limited Run. So yeah, all in all, a great experience, a lot of fun. I had a good time with it all the way through. On place number 8, we had an indie game that I played in the end of the year. It was released digital last year again, but the physical game was released this year. So I counted here on my top 10 list of the best games that have been released this year, and that is Paper Grinder, a game where I was kind of intrigued with the graphic. It reminded me a lot of, and the movement in the game as well. It reminded me a lot of Celeste combined with yeah, I'm actually not sure what it reminded me as well. It's not a Celeste clone at all. It just has something about with the art style that reminds me of Celeste, and the movement. You have that. You have a grind. I think it's called a grinder. You have that kind of machine you see here, where you are bashing through the dirt, and you get a boost every time you bump out of the dirt. And yeah, the movement in the game is just smooth, and it's enjoyable to run around in the game and collect all the gems you get. It's a very fast-paced game, but at the same time you have time to explore the world. You have to find, I can't remember how many it was, around 5 to 6 golden coins in every level, and some of the coins was hidden very good. And I like when you have 6 golden coins, and if you have missed one of the coins through the playthrough of the level, you can see that you have skipped the coin. I like that, so you know it's between the first coin and the third one you got, so you know in what kind of area you have to search out the coin you was missing. I like that kind of touches in games, so you don't have to explore the whole world the whole level without knowing where to go. It has some difficult spikes where I think I wish that the difficulty was smoothing better out. There are some levels in World 2 that are totally crazy difficult, and then there are some levels in the last world that are so easy. So I don't totally understand the difficulty balance. It's a very short game. It took me around 4 hours to beat, and all in all, it was a great game. It has some great ideas. Some may maybe think it get kind of repetitive in the end, so I'm happy that it isn't longer. The biggest problem with this game is that I hate the fucking ending. The ending in this game is horrible. I was like, that can't be the right ending. And I was like, maybe it's because I don't have collect all the golden coins yet. So I ended up getting all the golden coins in every level before I stopped and fight the last boss again. And it was the same ending. I still, to this day, after thinking about it, I still don't understand the ending. It's so bad, it's so weird, it's so out of place. It's just ending up having a very good game, ending up being like a shipwreck in the end. Actually, the ending annoys me because it doesn't make any fucking sense, and your main character is just weird in the end. Is such a cool girl character that's totally badass, and then she ending up being weird. I don't know. I don't understand the ending. Let me know if you understand the ending. No, maybe it's a spoiler thing, but who cares? It's a bad story anyway. You play this game for the gameplay, but please contact me and explain me the ending. I don't understand the ending. It's weird. It's bad, and I would say I don't think the bosses are the best in the games. And again, there is a difficulty spike in, I think it's the second world boss. That boss is the most difficult boss in the whole game, and I don't get that either way. So I think the difficulty spike is pretty bad. The ending fucking sucks. Otherwise, the gameplay is smooth, fun, enjoyable. I really love the music as well. It have nice soundtrack as well. The graphic is cool, and yeah, you have that smooth movement through the world that like you have in Celeste, in my opinion. But so Paper Grinder, I would say if you like a good challenge and if you don't care about story and just look into a game for just playing for the gameplay, check out Paper Grinder. It's very cheap, physical as well, so I would recommend it. At place number 7, we have a game that I was so happy got announced last year, I think it was. I was over the moon because I have so much nostalgia for this series. Actually, that's not true. I have so much nostalgia for one of the games because that's only the Super Nintendo game I have played. I had never played the Mega Drive version before. I think it was it was Mega Drive. Both games was released on the Mega Drive. Maybe it was. Yeah, I think it was Mega Drive. It was Mega Drive. Yeah. The first and the second game was released on the Mega Drive, and then the third game was released on the Super Nintendo. And that's the version I played. The game I'm talking about is Rocket Knight Adventures Resparked. Konami, yeah! And this game was released digital last year, but we got the physical version this year, so it counts again. And I have so much nostalgia for the Super Nintendo game. It was such a good game back in the days, and ladies and gentlemen, the game still holds up. I'm so happy to play through that game with a nice version. So you can rewind the game, sorry, and that's a big help because these games are brutal. They are so difficult. I never completed the Super Nintendo game back when I was young, and I understand why. I was actually pretty surprised how far I come in the game back then. I think I come to the second last level back in the days. I don't understand that because I had a hard time completing this game, even though I have the rewind version. No, that's not true. I completed all the 3 games in one afternoon. But still, I don't understand how I could come that far back in the days. So I played the first 2 games that I hadn't played before, and the first game I would actually say is almost as good as the third game in the Super Nintendo version. It's so charming, and the graphic style is so cute. It's brutal. Maybe actually the most difficult one in the series. The second game, though, I don't think that was that good. The movement in that game was weird, and I'm not the only one. I have seen other people's, because I couldn't understand why I didn't like the second game, and I was seeing other people's talking about it, and yeah, they didn't like the second game as well. It's weird because it's funny. The second game and the third game have the same front cover, but one of the games were released on the Mega Drive and the other was on the Super Nintendo. But they had nothing to do with each other. It's totally different games. There isn't any level that is the same. So there are 2 different games with the same front cover and with the same name. That's pretty weird. But yeah, 2 awesome games and 1 kind of bad game actually. So I would say, if you have played one of the games and have nostalgia for it, this compilation is absolutely brilliant. It's the best way to play them, and you can actually now complete them thanks to the rewind function. There's a 4th game that was released on the Xbox Live Arcade. It should be a pretty bad game, so I don't think I've missed anything. But at the same time, if this should be higher on the list, they should have included that game as well. Still, it's an awesome game. I had a good time with it. I have so much nostalgia for it. But keep in mind that if you have nostalgia for this game, maybe it won't be your cup of tea. But if you have just a little nostalgia for the character, I think it's a must-buy, definitely. And of course, you have to pick up the physical version. Of course. At place number 6, we have a game that a lot of people have begging Nintendo to be released again because the original version is so expensive. I played it back in the days when it was released for the GameCube, and that is Paper Mario: The Thousand Years Door. The only reason that it's not higher on the list is because I have played it before, and it hadn't changed a lot of things. It's almost the same game, beside the beautiful upgrade in the graphic. It's still so much fun to go through, and I will still say, if you never played Paper Mario: The Thousand Years Door, this is a must buy. Back in the days, I would say this game is better than the N64 game Paper Mario, the original. After I played this game, I still think it's a masterpiece, but I actually think the N64 game, the original, is a better game. It had a better world where the whole thing feels more connected. I was actually pretty surprised that a lot of the worlds wasn't connected at all in this game. Often you just found a green pipe going through, and then you're ending up on another side on the map, and then you explore the next chapter. The game has some pacing issues. A lot of the times you're going back and forth in a chapter to deliver a thing to another guy, and you are fighting the same enemies all over and over again. But so yeah, in some way the game hadn't aged that well since I played back in the days. I couldn't remember that was an issue back in the days. So things have changed maybe, but nowadays the pacing is a little bit off. But still, I think it's a masterpiece. The music is awesome. You can change between the original music and the remastered music. Sorry, and yeah, the writing is so good in the game as well. The boss fights are fun. The different locations you are visiting are great and original often. Some of the ideas they had borrowed it from the N64 version, but still, in some way, they take that idea they have from the N64 version and make them more unique in some way. So in kind of way, I think they are better, a lot of the chapters, but at the same time, the idea is not original. They were original in the N64 game. So you are seeing a lot of the same locations, just better from the N64 version. So maybe some people would say that Thousand Year Door is just a better version of the N64 games. It's not the same game at all, but it borrows a lot of the same ideas. And the reason why I love the N64 version better is the whole thing feels more connected. But the writing is better in this game, the story is better, the combat is better as well. There is a great badge system. Some people would say that it's a very easy game, but every time I upgraded my badge system and almost never touched the P flower upgrade or the HP upgrade. So it became more challenging in some ways, but at the same time you can get so many different badges that you can get so overpowered sometimes. And I really love to play around with the badge system. So if you're going to play this game a second time and you didn't play the game with the badge system that much, try this game again and try to play around with the badge system. I really think it was a fun time. One of the best acts in this game is the murder mystery you have on the train. Such a good act, and for me, it's still a masterpiece, and I will still recommend it to be one of the best games. I will actually say there are games that are coming up that I don't think is a 10 out of 10 as this game, but they are original, they are new, so I have to rate them higher than this game, because I have played before, and they haven't included anything new in the game. So, yeah. Okay, on place number 5 we have the first game I don't have physical because it hadn't been released physical yet. This is a digital only game, but it will get the physical version, I think, is in February. So the funny thing with this game is that it is on my place number 5, which are so good, but this game is the most disappointing game I played at the same time this year. And that's because my expectation for this game was so enormous. It was so high. I thought that this game would be definitely the best game I would have played this year. I thought it maybe would be one of the best games I would have ever played. The game I'm talking about is Neva. And before you are taking yourself to the head and like, okay, I saw your live stream, Daniel. We saw that you was like, oh, this is so masterful. I love this game. Yeah, I said that in the live stream. And yes, it was masterful while I was playing through the game. There are some stunning moments. There was some epic moments. There are jaw-dropping moments where I was just, is this real? And I had been waiting so much to play the game, and it was so beautiful. The music was great. The movement with the character was so great. The Neva wolf was so cute. I love the tone in the game as well. And then finished the game and I was like, I wasn't the biggest fan of the ending. It was kind of disappointing. But then I was very interested to see the after effect I got from the game. And I had got no effect of it at all. And I was wondering why. I thought this game would stick with me so hard and it will punch me back, and it will start making thoughts in my head where I was thinking about my life and why I'm feeling as it does, and why I am a gamer as Gris made me feel. So Gris is the first game Nomada Studio made, and that is one of the best games I have ever played. It was such a great experience, and the ending was good as well. It has so many symbolics for depression and identity crisis and losing yourself to the world, and I just felt it all the way through. It has a killer soundtrack. Even though I love Neva's music, it doesn't come near. It doesn't come near Gris's soundtrack. It's so much more epic. In Neva, there are around 12 tracks that are epic. All the other tracks are like. But in Gris, all the tracks are awesome. Maybe one I can skip, but otherwise all the tracks in Gris are exceptional. Okay, I will try to explain why this is my most disappointed game as well for this year. How do I describe it? I didn't feel anything after I had played the game. It was a good time while I was playing it, but I have never thought any thoughts about it afterwards. And I think it's because all the epic moments in Neva, you see those moments in Gris. And they had taken the same ideas that are the best ideas from Gris and made it more beautiful, because Neva, maybe I'm not agree with myself now. I would say the thing I was going to say is a more beautiful game, but I'm not totally sure if I think that actually, because Gris is more clean, where Neva is more beautiful with the colors, and it's very dramatical a lot of the ways, and are pushing you through a lot of different kind of sceneries and tones, where Gris is more like the void in a person that can't find herself anymore. And you have the forest, of course, you have the desert, but it's still more empty kind of way, where Neva, there is life in Neva, and it feels more lived, the world. The thing I'm trying to say, that the best moments in Neva are moments you will see in Gris as well. So again, we're talking about a game that take the best moments for another game, in some way like Paper Mario do with the N64 game. So even though I was like, oh, this is so epic while I was playing Neva, I was like, yeah, but that moment, I see that moment in Gris as well. But that game has so much better music, it has so better story, and it ending up having a much more impact on me. So even though Neva is on place number 5, I don't think it's that original, because you have seen all the best moments in Gris. It's still a masterful game. I thought this would be my game of the year, and I thought it would be one of the best gaming experience I've ever had. It's still a 8.5 out of 10, I would say. So it's a good game, a very good game. I will actually, this Neva, I will recommend that game to everyone. If you haven't played Gris, you will probably think that this game is even better, and then you go back and play Gris, maybe you will think, oh, it's not the same epicness over this game. But remember, Gris did all the epic moments first, and it was more simple, it was more clean, where Neva is 1 hour longer than Gris, but I must admit, I don't think that 1 hour was necessarily. I actually think that Neva was a better game if it was cut in 1 hour. And some people will say, oh, 3 hours game is very short, but who cares if the 3 hours is a masterful experience? Who cares then? It's still a great experience. I don't care about people that think that the length of the game is such a huge big deal. It depends, of course, what kind of games there are, but I think short games can be sometimes better than 100-hour games. Some JRPGs, of course, and Zelda games, I would like them to be long, because you are living in the... But at the same time, I live in the game when I was playing Gris. So it doesn't matter. A game can be 5 hours long and a game can be 100 hours long. If the game that is 100 hours long still feel epic, awesome, great. But if I'm playing a game that takes 100 hours and the 40 hours of the game is just bad pacing, bad story, I would rather have a short game than a long game. So who cares about the length in the game if it's epic while you're playing it? So yeah, it's so weird. Place number 5, we have my most disappointing game, and at the same time, one of the best games I've played this year. It's so confusing. Play Neva is a very, very good game. If you are playing Gris, if you haven't played Gris yet, play Gris instead. If you have played Gris, play Neva. But play both games. And come back to this channel, this video, and write, oh, you're right, Daniel. Gris is better. I'm very excited for the future from Nomada Studio. They have made some great games so far, the 2 games they have made. But I hope the next time they will do something different. I love that kind of art style they are doing with Gris and Neva. But I hope that the gameplay mechanics is a little bit different. Because they can't make a Gris 2. It's impossible. It's too epic. And you can't make the same game again without changing some bits of it. It's like when people are talking about, we just want our Ocarina of Time game again. And I think that as well. But you can't make an Ocarina of Time game again. That will be Twilight Princess, and that wasn't near as good as Ocarina of Time. So it's still a good game, but in some way we want some unique. And that's so crazy for me, because if you ask me 1 year ago and you were ask me what kind of game do you want Nomada Studio to make next time, I would say a Gris 2 game. They made that with Neva. And it didn't reach the same epicness. At place number 4, we have a game that I was so afraid of to get released. I was worried that I wasn't going to like it, but luckily I did. And that is Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. I was a little afraid about this game, and it wasn't because of the art style that some people don't like. It was more with the mechanics. I was afraid if I would like the Echoes mechanic, but luckily I found it very, very fun, and I really loved it. At the beginning of the game, I wasn't the biggest fan. I was kind of disappointed, actually, because I don't think the game showed the best side at the beginning. The first, actually, 5 hours. The first 2 dungeon areas, I think they were kind of bland in some way. They were not bad, but you have to understand at the beginning you don't have that many echoes yet, and you can't put out a lot of different types. When you get upgraded, you can put out more of the same echoes because you have better. I can't remember the name on it, but you have your little partner you're running around with have a little tail, and the tail gets longer and longer every time you complete something. I actually can't remember what it is, how you get the tail to get longer, but every time the tail gets longer, you can produce more echoes. Every echo costs a certain amount of tails, a square, and yeah, thanks to my neighbor. Quiet. I'm recording my top 10 best games for this year. Oh. Okay. I will wait a little bit till he's done.
1 hour later.
Okay. I think he's done. So what was I going to say? Yeah, so you can make more echoes. I think actually I talked about that. But yeah, all in all, the ecosystem is awesome. In the beginning, it was a little bit slow. And then, I heard some reviews of the game before I played, and some reviewers criticized the frame rate. And yeah, the frame rate wasn't the best at the beginning at all. When you start in the Hyrule Town, that is one of the worst places where the frame rate drops all the time. I have nothing against 30 frame rates, 30 frames per second. I don't care if a game is 60 frames per second, unless it's not stable. I would rather have I would rather have 30 frames per second through the whole game instead of trying to be 60 frames per second sometimes and then dip all the time. Just give me 30 frames per second if you can handle it all the time. I hate frame rates that dips, and it's not that the game was jumping from 60 to 30. Sometimes it was below 30 in the Hyrule Town and some places in the forest area. But as long as I played through the game, I started to not notice it that much, and I think it was because it was getting so much fun. It was so much fun just to exploring the world, and I think I had played this game a lot different than a lot of other people. I was playing this game where I was some kind of speed running it. I was just jumping all over Hyrule Field and jumping around and exploring all the things I was coming nearby. It was not that I was trying to solve all the side quests, because I could feel in my body that it wasn't that kind of game I wanted to play. And a lot of people have played it in that way and they really loved it. But I think if I had played that way, I would have been kind of bored. It's not that it isn't a good way to play, but I felt, okay, I can feel that I want to play Echoes of Wisdom in a more speedrunning kind of way. It's not that I just was try to hurry through the game and get it over. I really loved it, and I thought it was so funny to just climb over mountains with my water echo, where you can place a lot of water squares and swim up and jump over different places that you thought you wouldn't have the ability to reach. And I really loved that. I really thought it was a good game. I actually never got the horse in the game. So you can say, okay, I played through the whole game, and I played for around, I think it took me around 15 hours, and I never met the horse. I never met a Epona. So some people may think, okay, dang, you have played this game horribly wrong. But promise me, I had a good time with it, and it's on my place number 4 the best games I played this year. I had a blast with it, and I played in an alternative way, but still I had a good time with it. And I think the ending was pretty cool as well. Okay, on place number 3, we have a game that surprised me a lot. I didn't thought I would like this game that much. The game I'm talking about is one of the nominees for the Game of the Year, Balatro. I think it's pronounced like that. And I like card-based games, but normally I would prefer it to have a bigger personality with characters and boss fights where you see a monster or something like that. But this game is cards all the way through. This game is so addictive. I couldn't put it down after I started the game. I would say the first 30 minutes I was so confused, because I'm one of the people that don't know the rules in poker, and this game is built around the poker rules. And I thought it was funny that when I was trying to look up the rules in the game and I was trying to see some reviews, a lot of the reviewers and people that was talking about the game that tried to explain how it works, they automatically thought that you knew the rules in poker. And I'm like, do all people know the rules in poker? I don't. In poker, I don't. So I thought that was kind of funny. So I was actually, the first 30 minutes of the game, I didn't like it. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the rules. So I was like, oh, this is not my kind of game. But at least it was cheap, also the physical version. I got it on a Black Friday deal. And I was asking one of my friends, can you explain me the rules? Because I don't have a good time with it. And I knew that Balatro is one of his favorite games for this year. Maybe actually his best favorite game. I think so. And he was explaining me the rules and sent a picture of the different hands you can get. And then I understood it. And after that, I couldn't put the game down. I was playing this game 4 times every day for 5 days or a week around that. And 4 hours maybe doesn't sound that much if you are a hardcore gamer. But for me, when I have a child and work and don't have a lot of spare times anymore, 4 hours every day is a lot. I ended up coming very late to bed because of this game, and I was so tired the next day. And the only thing normally people would have thought afterwards is I need to go early to bed next day. But nope, I was thinking I can't wait to play Balatro. I would say I understand why it's on the Game of the Year list. A great 9 out of 10 game. On place number 2, I wasn't sure if I was going to count this game because in some way, some people may found it's a little cheat. I'm cheating now because I'm playing through the game right now, and I'm only... How long did I live stream yesterday? 3 hours, and today 4 hours. So I'm 7 hours in. I had to use my fingers to... what is 4 plus 3? I'm 7 hours in Outer Wilds. And this game was released for a long time ago to other platforms. And it was released digitally last year, I think. But we got the physical version this year, so it counts. I'm playing through this game right now, and... holy moly! It's an experience. I have never played any game like this before. And... this game is weird to describe. First of all, I haven't completed that all yet. It's much bigger than I thought. I actually thought I could complete it in these 2 live streams I had made, but I have seen nothing yet. It feels like I haven't seen nothing yet. I have explored 3 planets so far, and there are so many mysteries in the game, and I have heard about this game many times, and every time people have talked about it, I couldn't see the appeal in it. And one of my good friends, Mark, was talking about it in his podcast, and he was trying to tell why it's so good, and I've talked about that in another video, but I couldn't understand why people think it's one of the best games ever made, and I couldn't understand what it was about the game. And every time people say, lesser than you know, you better it is. It's better it is. The game has so many mysteries, and I'm still very confused by the story, but every time I'm thinking to myself, oh, this is too confusing, there is a thing happening where I'm like, oh, I get it now. And thanks to Mark, he's seeing my live stream, and he's helping me a little bit. But I just have a good time with it, and I'm so curious to check out the whole game. I'm so interested in the world. I love the universe since I was a child. I really think the talk about what is there outside of our solar system is so, in some ways, so scary and so interesting to talk about. Well, and this game is actually pretty scary. I died 4 times so far while I was flying into the sun. It's so terrifying, and you can die in so many brutal ways. But the writing in this game is masterful. The graphic is an indie game, and I can see that sometimes, even though the Switch are running the game very well, I can see, especially in your home planet, when I start, I was like, ooh, I can see some rough corners. But it doesn't matter in this game. This game is just masterful. It's so fun to explore the different planets and flying around and unsolve the mysteries. I can't wait to see how the ending is going to be, because, yeah, it's so difficult because I can't actually talk about the things, the thing I was going to say, because that would be a spoiler for a lot of people. Because I found out that part in the game after 4 hours or something like that, and it will spoil some enjoyment in the game. So it's a difficult game to talk about. So I understand why a lot of people may not be sold on the game, but trust me, so far, from a guy that had played for 7 hours and can't wait to play further in the game, this game is something special. I have never played a game like this before, and I'm thinking about the game even though I'm not playing it. So Outer Wilds is a masterful game, and I think that it will hold up all the way to the end. So I put it on the list on the second best game I played this year. Okay, at place number 1. Stop the music. Good. We have to be silent right now, and I'm getting chills right now, because, whoo, yeah, I haven't talked about this game so much. I have made some weird videos about it, and if you're following my Facebook, I have posted a lot about this game, but I haven't actually made a review of this game, and this year haven't been like last year with a lot of the games. It's not that. If you see my last year's video, I was like, oh, this game is one of the best games I've ever played, and there was. And there have been some great games on this top 10 as well, but this game, I won't spoil it because someday I will make a top 25 list over the best games I have ever played. Make sure to subscribe to the channel because when we hit 2,000 subscribers, I will do that list over the top 25 best games I have ever played. But this game, ladies and gentlemen, this game, okay, first of all, no, I don't. Now I come to the point where I have a difficult time to talk about it because I really want to sell the game. So all you people that haven't played, because not many people have played this game. I really want all you stupid motherfuckers to play this game because why haven't you played it yet? Sorry about that. I don't think you're a stupid motherfucker. I love you all. And thank you so much for being here on the channel. But play it. Okay. How do I start with this game? First of all, normally I don't play those kind of games. This is not my kind of genre normally. And the reason why I ended up picking it up was because I promised myself after I had made some wrong... I had made some mistakes with other games where I was like, that game is not for me, I don't think so, there's something about the game that doesn't appeal to me. And then everyone is saying, please try it out, you will love it. And then 3 years after it had been released, I tried out. As an example, Undertale. I didn't play that game for a long time because I couldn't see the appeal with it. And then I played, and it's one of the best games I've ever played. And the game I'm talking about is Amio, the Smiling Man. The game everyone hates after it was revealed that it was a visual novel. In the summer, we got the teaser for Amio, the Smiling Man, where we saw that scary face appear. And a lot of people was like, oh, we get a horror game by Nintendo. And then it was revealed it was a visual novel by the Famicom Detector Club. And I thought it was funny, so many people was disappointed. And I was like, yeah, that's a funny take on it. There was something about the mask that was very... that made me curious, and then we have the purple color, and I was like, okay, I just want the front cover in my collection. And that's actually true. One of the reasons was because I really loved the front cover. And I was like, yeah, it can be in my collection, and I can look at the front cover. Maybe the game is not for me. But then I played. And this game is one of the best games I've ever played. Ever. It will be on my top 25 list over the best games I've ever played. I started playing this game with my wife, and we promised each other to play through it to the end. But the game was so effectful on me that I was like, I can't wait for you to have time to play again or in the mood to play a game. So I was saying to my wife, I need to play this game. The story was so captivating and I needed to know what was going on. And she approved, and I was playing the game every day after my kid and wife was going to sleep, and I had my headphones on, the television was turned on, and the light around me was turned off. And I was like, I couldn't wait to come further into the story. The story itself is so captivating. The characters in the game, they are all so likable. You really love all characters in the game, and you want to hear what they think about the situation, what they know about the situation, and you have every character under the loop. I was at a point in the game where I was starting questioning myself, the character you're playing as, am I the murderer? I thought everyone could be the murderer, the Amio, the Smiling Man, the character. I was like, are you the guy? Are you the guy? And you the guy? And I couldn't figure it out. There are some moments in this game where it's just breathtaking. There is a scene on a bar where you're just small talking, you get some whiskey, and you're talking with a guy that you thought was suspicious at the moment, but at the same time you like him a lot, and the music combining with the atmosphere while you are sitting there and drinking and you're confused about what is going on in this story. It was such a captivating moment, and I was like, I got chills when I was sitting there, and I remember I was like, I don't know when I will get some kind of experience like this again. And I really enjoyed the moment while I was playing it, and I thought to myself while I was playing it, this is a magical game. And now I will start the music again. When you hear this track, something crazy, tragical, emotional things are happening on the screen at the same time. It's so hard to talk about this game without spoiling anything, and I won't spoil anything, I promise you. But there is a moment where you are talking to some people that really love a person that you think is a little weird, that you have to investigate. And they are taking you in and they are talking with you and, oh, you're a good guy. And they figure out that you have a feeling that maybe that guy can be the murderer. And the emotion and the feelings the two characters you're talking with shows is so masterful. And you hear that music starts and it's just, you have to experience it. But you can't talk about Emio the Smiling Man without it sounding kind of boring. But promise me, you think you know what you are jumping into, but you don't. You don't. After the credits roll and you have completed the game, you are like some kind of empty, and you are wondering what had that person going through since he did all that. And then after the credits roll, you see that the game is not over yet. And this horror game you had thought was a pretty creepy story, ending up being a tragedy. I would just say that I'm getting kind of emotional right now because it's so powerful. I will actually say through the game it's pretty creepy, and you're thinking, oh, this is a creepy game, and then it became one of the most emotional games you have ever played. After the game is done, you think it's done, there is more to come. And the game itself before that is a 10 out of 10 game. Masterful game. But you have seen nothing yet. You have seen nothing yet. Ladies and gentlemen, the things that happen after the credits rolls is on a level that you won't expect a lot of games do. We come on a level that is so high, that is crazy, that is real. I was playing through the last part of the game and I was pushed back on my couch. I was like, what is going on? The thing you're seeing in the last part of the game had been sitting in me ever since. I remember the day I completed the game. I was writing to Anne, one of my friends, and I was like, she was following my journey through the game. She was watching me talk about it on my Facebook channel, and we wrote to each other while I was playing the game, and she was like, what do you think? And I was like, I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know what I'm thinking right now, because it was so intense and it was so strong, and I was left with so many questions, and I had a weird feeling in my body. I was like, this is a tragedy. And the tone in the game shifts so much, and the way they tell the things in the end is so different from the beginning of the game and the middle of the game, and the end of the game is so different in some way. And it's like, I don't think a lot. One of my friends, Salih, was playing through the game, and he was like, yeah, it's a good game. And then I was asking, what do you think about the real ending? And it's not because it's a difficult way to find the ending. It shows it after you completed the game. And he was like, I stopped at that. And I was like, stop at that? You can't stop at that moment. That's the best moment in the game. And he was like, okay, I will play it again. I'll see it. And he was writing back to me, oh, I see what you mean. I'm so happy that I played that part. I saw a thing that I never thought a game could make me feel. And I was breaking up when the last part of the game was done. And you see, okay, a little spoiler, it's not a big spoiler. Then you see the logo from the game. The game have a logo where you see this beautiful logo with the flower. And then after you have seen the last part, Oh, it's such a good game, man. Oh, I don't know why I'm crying over a logo. Then the logo changed. Oh. Oh, yeah. This is the combination of the whole journey you have in the game. Then the logo changed into something that has so much a deeper meaning, where you're like, I see it now, I understand it, I feel the person. That this game turns from a horror game into a deep, deep tragedy. It's so powerful. And I was sitting after the title screen, after it was stopped, after the logo was changed. The logo changed into something bigger, and I was like, this is magical. And I'm feeling so sad right now. I was hating some of the things I saw in the game because it was so dark, it was so tragical, it was such tragedy. It was so powerful, and I can't believe that so many people haven't experienced this game. You just have to play it for the ending, and you will. The whole. Okay, I will try to say it again. The whole game, the main game, the last part is the main game as well. The whole game is a 10 out of 10 game. And you thinking about it, and you say that's one of the best games I've ever played. Then there come the last post game ending that takes around an hour to complete, and that hour changed the last 15 hours you have played of the game to something bigger, something you don't understand. And I'm talking this so much up, and it's because I really want you to experience that. And even though I'm talking it so much up, and I have difficult time to talk right now English, it's because you need to experience it. You need to play this game. You need to play Amiyo the Smiling Man. You need to play this tragedy of a game. It's one of the best games I've ever played. And please subscribe to my channel. I really want to tell you where this is on my top 25 list of best games I've ever played. It's high on the list. It's that good. It's that fucking good. Ladies and gentlemen, this was Dan from the P-Wing. I have to stop now because I'm tearing up. Thank you so much for watching the whole video. I'm signing out. Bye.